Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we'll be discussing about microbes in human welfare. It is a topic of class 12th CBSE in the NCRT book. We have been across many of the number of microorganisms. They are all around us. Today, in this topic, we'll be studying about how these microorganisms are helpful for the human beings. If I classify the microorganisms, they can be bacteria, they can be fungi, protozoa, algae, they can be viruses, they can be prions, they can be viroids. There is a broad classification of microorganisms. Basically, a microorganism is a, a tiny or very small organisms that cannot be seen with the naked eye that you usually see with the help of a microscope. So this is just a classification of microorganisms which are present all around us in our environment everywhere. If I talk about in this room where I'm taking the class, it is present everywhere. So they are present everywhere. Do they want to kill me? No, not at all. We have been studying that microorganisms or the microbes, they are always harmful for us. They are dangerous for us, as in the present time it is that various diseases are being caused by the microorganisms. The coronavirus that is being caused by the microorganisms. But it's not that all category of microorganisms are dangerous for us or they want to kill us. Some of them are the useful microorganisms which are helpful for us for our better living, for our daily routine. Or if I could say that, yes, you have the microorganisms present in your body too. The bacteria, which we say that is present in your body too, we can say that is a friendly bacteria, a good bacteria. So it is that they all do not want to kill us. They have been helpful for us in the number of ways. And let's study how have they been helpful for us. The first thing is that is microbes in households. So we have been across, we have been surrounded by the microorganisms everywhere. Microorganisms, if we start from the our household only, microorganisms are very much useful for us in the household also. The first thing, we all like to eat curd. Do we? Yes, I do. The first thing is microorganisms. They are helpful for us in the production of curd from the milk. Basically, the curd, it is having a bacteria called lactobacillus bacteria, which helps in the curdling of the milk and convert into curd. The process is something like that. We have been very much familiar in our household that we put a small amount of curd into the warm milk, which is warm at the room temperature, and we add it into it, and that small amount of curd, it is known as inoculum. That small amount, or you can see just a 1/4 of a teaspoon of curd, have millions of lactobacillus bacteria, which when added to the milk at room temperature, they start multiplying and they start growing and they start curdling the milk and it transforms into curd. Next one is fermentation of dough for idli, bhatura, dosa. We do like to eat idlis, bhatura, dosa, or we do like to eat that pastries, cake, and everything. So the dough which is made for which is prepared for this preparations, it has been kept for fermentation, and there is a yeast called baker's yeast, that is Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is very much important. You need to note down the name of it, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So that is which is very much helpful in this fermentation, and it increases the production of carbon dioxide when we knead a dough and we keep it aside for some time. Then is there is a traditional drink that is being prepared in the South India. It is a very famous drink over there. Its name is toddy. It's also made by the fermentation of the fruit pulp or however they made it. Then is fermentation of fish, soya bean, and bamboo shoots. They have been fermented, they have been kept in the fermentation so that they can be stored for a longer time. So for that also microorganisms they are being useful. Then is a production of Swiss cheese and the Roquefort cheese. If I talk about the Swiss cheese, you need to know about it that Swiss cheese is basically it is made in the Swiss cheese. There are the holes made on it by the perforations of carbon dioxide, and that is basically by a bacterium that is known as Propionium bacterium shermani. Yes, this is the name of the bacterium which is responsible for the holes of for the production of carbon dioxide in the Swiss cheese. And the next one is Roquefort cheese. It is also made fermented by growing a kind of fungi on it. So these are the some of the household uses of the microorganisms where these microorganisms are helpful for us for in our daily life household products. So the next one is that is microbes in industry. So microorganisms they are very much useful in the industrial sector also for a production of, you could say, for the production of antibiotics, for the production of industrial products, and for the commercial productions. So they are all very much useful in the industry also. So in this further, we'll be studying about one by one how it is useful in the industry, in the antibiotics, and in the commercial productions. Next, there is if I talk about microbes in industry, the basic thing where it comes is one is that is in the cake or pastries in that industry, and second one is that is fermentation of the beverages. That is the drinks which are made from the alcohol. So microorganisms they are very much useful for this, and the microorganism, or you could say the master organism that is responsible for this is that is let me undo all this. So the microorganism responsible for this is that is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Saccharomyces cerevisiae is also known as the brewer's yeast, and it is also known as the baker's yeast, as it is used in the beverages also. It is used in the um, for the production of any kind of baker industry, and for the production of the dough. It is used everywhere. So, if I talk about fermentation of beverages in a large scale in the industry, there are basically drinks that are produced with it. That is the alcoholic drinks. What the people do is they mix the sap or the fruit juice or the you can say fruit sap in these big fermenters. They put on this sap in these fermenters and they have been kept for a longer time where they add the Saccharomyces cerevisiae. This is a yeast, a fungi. They add on this into the fermenters and it has been kept for days to ferment it for the production of carbon dioxide in this and to have the industrial beverages. So if I talk about the alcoholic drinks, there are, if I classify it, you can have the alcoholic drinks which are produced with the distillation or with the process of distillation of this we can whatever the substrate we have added to the fermenters. Then the example is whiskey, brandy, and rum. These are produced with the help of distillation of this uh, fruit sap or the juice whatever they use in it. And the alcoholic drinks which are produced without the process of distillation are wine and beer. So these are with the with the production of distillation or without distillation, and these are produced on a larger scale in the industry. So the next one is that is, if I talk about industrial use, then I may not leave behind the antibiotics. So antibiotics, they are produced on a larger scale in the industry. So if I take about the meaning of antibiotics, anti means against the life, and sorry, it's against, and bio means life. If I take antibiotics, that means against life. So antibiotics means against life, anything which we are using which is against the life of any organism, that is known as antibiotics. The first antibiotic that was discovered was penicillin, and it was discovered from Penicillium notatum by Sir Alexander Fleming. There is a very interesting story behind it, that is, uh, when it was a time when Sir Alexander Fleming was working in his lab on a bacteria called that was a bacteria that was Staphylococci bacteria, and he was working on it, and he found it that there was a plate left unwashed by him having the culture of Staphylococci. So when he found that on that plate, there was another kind of mold growing on it, which was restricting the growth of the bacteria. And when he studied it, it was not a kind of bacteria, it was actually a fungi that he named as Penicillium notatum, which was restricting the growth of Staphylococci bacteria on that culture plate. So, till here, Sir Alexander Fleming, he found that there is something he named it Penicillium notatum, and it was there is a chemical you can find, it's penicillium, which is restricting the growth of Staphylococci uh, from the culture plate. But it was then its full potential, the full potential of Penicillium notatum was then established by Sir Ernst Chain and Sir Howard Florey later on, who discovered and in the year of 1945, the all three they won Nobel Prize for this discovery. And this antibiotic, penicillin, was highly used by the American soldiers, by the America to treat the wounded soldiers of the World War II. It was highly used in the era of World War II to treat the American soldiers, the wounded American soldiers. So it's a kind of a revolutionary antibiotic which came on a sudden in the year by 40s, 1950s, before I could say before the World War II. And after that, a number of antibiotics was discovered, like antibiotic for plague, for Kali Khansi, for this diphtheria, and also for leprosy and smallpox also. And these antibiotics have helped the human beings to completely eradicate the harmful, or you can say the fatal diseases from this planet. And we are really thankful to these antibiotics for completely eradicating the smallpox from the planet. So these have been highly produced in the industry as the antibiotics. And if a question comes to you that there can be a question that how microorganisms are useful for us in the medicine. If I talk only about medicine, then it is about the antibiotics is also a part of it. And also we will be studying some of the more organisms, microorganisms in the further slides. There will be studying about some more organisms which are useful in the you can say in the medicine. So if you get a question like how the microorganisms are useful for us in this medicine industry, so we can write about the antibiotics also in that, and we can write about the invention of penicillin in that too. So next one is some of the commercial productions which are done on a larger scale in the industry. If I talk about that citric acid, which is very much used in the household products, that is citric acid, it is being produced by the Aspergillus niger. It is produced by Aspergillus niger. Acetic acid, it is produced by Acetobacter aceti. It is a bacterium. Butyric acid is produced by Clostridium butylicum. It is a bacterium. And lactic acid, which we have studied, which has been used for the production of curd from the milk, that is being produced by the Lactobacillus bacterium. And ethanol, which is very much used in the, you can say, baker industry. You can see it is very much used in the brewers industry for the production of wine, beer, and other alcoholic drinks. For that is the taken from Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the yeast that is responsible for the production of ethanol. And I could say that ethanol, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, is the very much useful, or you can say very much important yeast, which is highly useful in the daily life of mankind. If you go for fermentation of the dough, for the any kind of eatables you want to eat, like you want to eat idli, dosa, bhatura, anything. If you want to look out for the fermentation of the cake, if you want like to have the fermentation of a dough for bread, for pizza, for anything, for the fermentation of this, you can say brewers industry, we use Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the yeast, which is very much actively used in the commercial industry. So, and after that, there is also if I could take about the medical purpose of these microorganisms, then there is a microorganism Streptococcus. If you remember in the previous slide, we have studied about Streptococcus, which whose production was inhibited by penicillin. So Streptococcus is also very much helpful for us. That it produces streptokinase. It is an enzyme. It produces streptokinase, which is used as a clot buster for removing the blood clots from the blood vessels of the patients who have undergone the myocardial infections, which are on a high risk to the heart attack. So it is about the medicinal use that Streptococcus produces a streptokinase, which is acting as a clot buster. And if I talk about the laundry industry, then there is a lipase enzyme which is taken from the microorganisms also. It is used in the detergents to remove the oil and stain from the clothes. And one thing more, you might have seen that the bottled packed juices which we buy from the market are more clearer than those juices which we get fresh or from the market, or which we make at home. The fresh juices, they're having a pulp inside it, but the bottled juices, we are finding it has no pulp inside it. The reason is they are being treated by two kind of enzymes, that is proteases and pectinases. You need to remember it, the two enzymes, that is proteases and pectinases. So they are responsible for clarifying the bottled juices and to remove its pulp, and they are also taken up from the microorganisms. So the next one is then the bioactive molecules. If I talk about the bioactive molecules, that is, the first one is cyclosporin A. Cyclosporin A is taken up from a fungus, Trichoderma polyspermum, and its role is it acts as an immunosuppressive agent. Generally, it is given to the patients who have undergone the organ transplant surgery. They are being treated with the cyclosporin A chemical to just suppress their immune system so that the organ can be accepted by the body, and it is taken up from the microorganisms, that is Trichoderma polyspermum. And second one is statins. They have been taken up from Monascus purpureus, and it acts as a blood cholesterol level lowering agent. They have been treated. They have been statins are the been used as a chemicals in the blood cholesterol lowering medicines and given to the patients. So its source is Monascus purpureus. basically in this chapter we need to remember the scientific names, the sources, the microorganisms and the chemicals which are derived from them, which are, and this thing is very much important from the, from your board point of view also, from your competitive point of view also. So you all need to remember this, that name of the microorganism and the chemicals which are derived from it, and what is the role of that chemical in the daily life of the human being. So if I could say that microorganisms are not only harmful for us, but they are of the greater use to the mankind, being very much helpful for us in the various kinds, whether it be the household, whether it be your daily routine, whether it be your industry, medicine, commercialization, everywhere. They are very much helpful for us and just to make our life more easier. So that's all for this this video. And if you like this video, do give a big thumbs up to this video. If you're having any kind of doubt, any suggestion, any remark, then do leave it in the comment section below and share it with your loved ones, with your friends, with your colleagues, so that they may also get a benefit of it. And do subscribe and press that red button down somewhere over here. Do press that subscribe button, and after pressing the subscribe button, do press that bell icon so that you will be notified with my next video whenever it comes. This all for this video, and I hope you all will be fine at your places, and this video might be helpful for you for your study material. It might be helpful for you. And in the next videos I'll be discussing about the next part of this chapter, that is the sewage treatment plant, how the microorganisms are helpful for us in the treatment of the sewage, domestic sewage, and in the production of the biogas. And also we'll be discussing about the other things, that how microorganisms are acting as a biocontrol agents and as a natural fertilizers. So till then, take care of yourself and do not forget to subscribe and like this video. See you next time. Take care everyone, and till then, bye bye.